going to tell you the truth about winters in Colorado Springs. But before we do, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the little bell button to be notified of any new videos that we post. So you ready? What is the truth about the winters in Colorado Springs?
They're not that bad.
To me, they're not that great. We moved here and I wanted a snowy winter for Christmas. And guess what I get? Nothing.
There's still snow on the street.
Barely, like this much. Overall, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not what you expect. Within 2 to 5 hours of major ski resorts, so Breckenridge is close, Aspen is not as close, but Vail, they're all in driving distance. I think the furthest is probably 5 or 6 hours, so you can get to all these places pretty quickly, and they have a ton of snow. And then we're just not as cold and we don't get out as much snow. So if you're coming here thinking, you know, you want snow all winter long and snow for Christmas, you might not get it. So for example, today the high is 44, but then Tuesday it's 43, Wednesday it's 45, and then on Thursday the high temperature is 0 degrees, and the low is -13. So it goes between being super, super cold and then like decent, like 40s, even sometimes 50s. And if you live in Colorado Springs, you know that you're gonna have your sprinklers blown out before like around October so that it doesn't freeze and burst your pipes. But then we get enough warm days during the summer that you actually should hand water your grass. So that it comes back better in the spring. So if you're thinking like, you know, your classic Minnesota or I don't know, New York winter where it snows and then the snow doesn't melt and it just accumulates and accumulates and it gets brown and dirty, like we really don't have that here. So the further north you go into those wooded areas, you're gonna have more snow and it stays around longer.
But that's just because they don't get a lot of sun on the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of trees and a lot of shade.
Another thing that you should know about our winters is, in our concrete, is that you actually should not use the de-icers that they sell at Home Depot and Lowe's, and actually like eats your concrete and will shorten the life of it. To use like kitty litter or sand. But no matter what, you're still gonna drag in like other chemicals that other people or the city put down. So it's always a good idea to seal your driveway. They sell the sealer at Home Depot or Lowe's just to kind of lengthen the life of your concrete and walkways and all that.
Just kind of winterizing your home is the task around October time frame. Yeah. Usually like the line is like Halloween. That's when it starts freezing, getting, you know, pretty chilly. I always tell people like your kids can't be Spider-Man, they have to be Spider-Man in a jacket or Batman in a jacket, because usually it's pretty cold. But yeah, other stuff, just kind of keeping up with your plants, covering them with just like a sheet or something if you know it's gonna freeze over, just so they don't die. But you can still water them, just not as much, just because, and you have to water them usually in the beginning of the day, like in the morning, because if you do it in the evening, they're just gonna freeze and die. And another thing to kind of look for is on your vehicle, just kind of getting the right tires. If you're not all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, a decent driver would be okay in all-weather tires, but it's always smarter just to have, you know, some good set of winter tires. Also your coolant, make sure that you have the right coolant in your vehicle, the windshield wiper fluid, make sure that it's good on below freezing temperatures, or else you're just gonna spray ice into your windshield and it's not gonna be good. If your windshield is wet at night and it's gonna freeze, just lift the windshield wipers up, because if they get stuck and you start the car, or you try to raise the windshield wipers off, it could rip off that rubber strip and then you're just gonna be scratching your windshield. So just things to keep in mind. And then wash your car regularly in the winter, because it can have that buildup of grime, the road grime in your car, and then it'll stain and you'll need a new paint job after a little while. Front hood covers, we have that clear bra on the front of the cars just so they don't get those little scratches and dings from road debris that they lay down during the winter months when it's icy.
While it's not like a really hard winter, it's an ugly winter. So you can still go outside and it's still like nice. You can still go hiking, biking, play outside, but there's not a lot of pretty things to look at unless you're like in the pine trees. Obviously they don't lose their needles in the winter. But like grass is dead unless you have fake grass, and the trees don't have leaves, and everything kind of looks a little bit raw for too long for me. I don't like, in February I'm over it, but winter's not over. And then a lot of people don't realize that our winter really doesn't start, I feel like, until like, we'll say it at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
November.
February.
Like November, December.
I mean, it starts, but not anything good. We get a few days of snow, and then all the snow hits us in February.
Yeah.
Like, where was that snow right before Christmas? That's when I wanted it.
Yeah,
Not
white
now.
Christmases are
It's
a rarity.
Valentine's Day. I don't need snow.
But if you like the snow, get a north-facing house, and then your snow will never melt.
So if you don't want to shovel your snow, get a south-facing house.
Learn how to drive in the snow and ice.
Or stay home.
There's dozens of classes in the city that teach you how to drive and kind of control your vehicle. I'm putting Vanessa through one next week, actually.
I had no idea.
But seriously, take those classes and just kind of learn, especially if you're coming from somewhere that doesn't get any snow, like Southern Arizona or Southern California, parts of Texas, Florida. Just take those classes. It's always worth it. They're very informative. They go over like different things that you can keep in your car to kind of help you. We're typically not in a place where you're gonna get stuck on the side of the highway, but it has happened. We had maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, this big storm. They called it a bomb cyclone. And we probably got like 3 or 4 feet of snow, and it was just kind of absurd. And the police department was driving around in Humvees, rescuing people from their vehicles. But it took hours for, police and services, emergency services to get out there. So it's always smart just to kind of have a go bag in your vehicle, just in case you do get stuck out there for a few hours. Keep your gas up. Don't be like my beautiful wife here and leaves it on, almost E, saying that she has 50 more miles to go. So just fill up whenever you can, especially in the winter, especially if you know that a storm is coming. Just fill up, have that full tank. That way you can sit in your car for longer and have some snacks, have a blanket. Like we mentioned earlier, just an extra jacket and just some extra clothing and layers just so you're nice and warm if you end up having to stay in your car. But typically down here, you don't have that happen. It's only happened once in the 8 years that we've been here where we got a bad storm like that.
And it's not so much just snow that people have trouble with, because you actually get quite a bit of traction in fresh snow. It's the ice. So when it's like cold, wet, freezes over, and then it gets slippery, that's when people have problems. You also want to kind of map out where you're going and take the path of least resistance if you do have to go out in bad weather, which again is not as much as I would like it to be. I just want fresh snow all the time, not like ice. But I guess we can't pick and choose.
Whether you like this video or not, go like it, subscribe. We'll be funny in the next one, I promise. And hit the little bell. I'm gonna get me a bell for every time
we have a bell. You just don't know where it is.
I will get an extra bell because my wife hid this one for me. Hit the bell so you can keep up with us. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you guys.
Bye.